What if I told you that one of the biggest female music stars in the world didn't become famous overnight? Before the massive concerts, international awards, chart-topping songs, and millions of fans, there was a young girl from Barranquilla, Colombia, with a dream. Her name was Shakira. And this is the story of how she turned that dream into a global career. Shakira Isabel Mubarak Ripoll was born on February 2, 1977, in Barranquilla, Colombia. From a very young age, Shakira was fascinated by music and writing. While many children were simply enjoying their childhood, Shakira was already developing her talent and dreaming about becoming a professional performer. And she didn't wait until she was an adult to chase that dream. At just 14 years old, she released her first album, Magia. But something unexpected happened. The album didn't turn her into the superstar she dreamed of becoming. Her second album, Peligro, also failed to create the breakthrough she wanted. For a young artist, experiences like that can be devastating. Imagine working toward a dream, finally getting your opportunity, and then discovering that the world isn't paying attention. But Shakira didn't stop. Instead, she began studying what worked, developing her songwriting, and most importantly, discovering her own artistic identity. Then came the turning point. In the mid-1990s, Shakira released Pies Descalzos. This time, people started paying attention. Her music connected with audiences across Latin America, and songs such as Estoy Aquí helped establish her as a major new star. But Shakira wasn't satisfied with becoming successful only in the Spanish-speaking market. She wanted something much bigger. She wanted the world to hear her music, and that meant taking a huge risk. She decided to enter the English-speaking music market. For an artist who had already built a successful career in Spanish, this was a dangerous move. She had to work on her English, develop her songwriting, and find a way to introduce her Latin identity to an entirely different audience. Then came Laundry Service. And with it came one of the songs that changed her career forever. Whenever, Wherever. The song exploded internationally. Suddenly, audiences who had never heard of Shakira before were discovering her music. Her voice was different. Her dancing was different. Her style was different. And instead of trying to completely change herself to fit the international market, Shakira brought her own identity with her. That became one of her biggest strengths. She wasn't simply trying to become another pop star. She was becoming Shakira, and the world was paying attention. But the biggest moments were still ahead. In 2006, Shakira released Hips Don't Lie, featuring Wyclef Jean. The song became a massive international hit and turned Shakira's unique dancing and performance style into an even bigger part of her global image. People weren't just listening to her music, they were watching her perform. They were copying her dance moves, and they were recognizing her instantly. Then, in 2010, another huge moment arrived. Shakira performed Waka Waka, this time for Africa, the official song associated with the FIFA World Cup in South Africa. The World Cup gave the song an enormous international audience. Millions of people around the world heard it, and once again, Shakira had turned music into a global moment. But there's another part of Shakira's story that deserves attention. Her career wasn't only about fame. She also became involved in philanthropy and education. At a young age, she established the Pies Descalzos Foundation, which works to support children in Colombia through education and other programs. So, when you look at Shakira's journey, it's easy to focus only on the superstar, the concerts, the music videos, the awards, the millions of fans. But behind all of that is a much longer story. A girl who started writing songs, a teenager who released albums that didn't immediately make her famous, an artist who refused to let early disappointment determine her future, a performer who took the risk of entering a new language and a new market, and eventually a global superstar. That's what makes Shakira's story so interesting. She didn't become successful by simply copying what everyone else was doing. She developed her own sound. She embraced her identity. She took risks, and she kept moving forward. Today, when people hear the name Shakira, they immediately recognize the voice, the dance moves, and the songs. But before the world knew her name, there was simply a young girl with a dream. And perhaps that's the biggest lesson from her journey. Sometimes success doesn't happen when you first try. Sometimes you have to fail, learn, change your strategy, and try again. Shakira's early setbacks didn't end her story. They became part of the story that eventually made her a global superstar. So the next time you hear a Shakira song, remember that behind those few minutes of music are decades of hard work, risk-taking, and determination. Because Shakira's story isn't just about how she became famous. It's about how she refused to give up before the world discovered what she could do. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to NELRO-B 31 for more stories about the world's biggest stars. And I'll see you in the next one.